Hey everybody, it's Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowbeef. With me, of course, is my good friend Jim.
Hey everybody.
My good friend Devious Vacuum.
Hi.
My good friend Turbo C.
Hello, I'm here.
My good friend Polo Hoko.
Good evening.
I feel like I botched the intro somehow, and I don't know how.
Ah, we forgot the sixth member.
Oren puts himself in. Oren, put yourself in right here and be like, "You're welcome for editing."
That's right, Oren Ronan, our editor, who I should probably call out and credit more often than I do.
The man behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm. But for now, what was the thing I was going to say? We did the Hugo route this time.
Yep, we dated Hugo, our daughter's teacher.
So I was looking through some of the comments for some of the episodes, and just after the Joseph one that was posted, someone was like, "Wow, after Joseph, I hope you guys do Damien or Hugo as a palate cleanser." And I'm like, well, we did both.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Hooray!
The palate's very cleansed.
Yeah.
It's true.
Which makes me worried for the other two that we have left, but we'll see.
My dad is Manzer Tank. I streamed it, so I asked people to call out numbers in chat, and I used that to sort of randomly generate a dad.
Huh.
Wow.
Nice.
He's thin. He's got yellow glasses. I can't tell if those are hairy arms or if the picture I uploaded just is very distorted. No, he has hairy arms, yes. And a very out-of-place mustache with a piercing that goes through the mustache. So that's Manzer Tank.
I was looking at piercings as well, and I had a mustache dad as well, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's just like a piercing for the mustache.
Mustache piercing. Of course.
Which I decided not to do. So for my dad, I was going for like a Nick Offerman's Ron Swanson type, which didn't quite get there, but you know, a big burly guy, and you know, with a beard and all that stuff. So when I went to pick a name, I was like, well, I need something like super hyper masculine and all like that. And I remembered a tweet of this Super Famicom game about all of these fake American names. So I picked the first one off the list, which is Sleeve McDykel.
That's a good name.
That Sleeve is a really good name.
Mm-hmm.
Also McDykel.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like somebody combined Michael McDonald.
It's just like, it's two letters off from Steve McMichael, which would have been a normal name. But no.
Oh, maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they just took a normal name and kind of messed it up a little bit.
The other one, which I was super tempted to do, was Mike Truck.
Ah, that is very good.
But Devious Vacuum said he looked too much like Slow Beef.
He looked like Slow Beef. He looked like Slow Beef further down his weight loss goal, where he's less tired. But still, obviously a very dadly dad. My dad in this, I played as Ganondorf from the Legend of Zelda series.
It's a real good Ganondorf, too.
Yeah.
I started to do something else. Once again, I found myself making something different than what I intended to make, but I think it turned out pretty good. I still couldn't be a bad dad, even playing as Ganon.
They give you quite a few skin colors to choose from, and like, you know, obviously throughout like the normal spectrum, but also I think they have like some blue and greens in there too.
Yeah, there's like a dark purple, which I feel like it's like, it could be like related to a real skin tone that's just very, very dark, or it could be like more of a, you know, an unusual skin tone. You know, it could go either way.
Basically, I'm saying I need to make an alien the next playthrough.
Yeah, yep. For Brian, I'm definitely doing Alien. We should have a contest to see which one is the wackiest.
Oh, you're not just gonna make a slightly hotter version of the real Brian?
Oh, like it's his alien twin or something.
His ideal type, right? Because he's like a little bit better than you at everything. So if you're like a little bit hotter than him at everything.
A little bit slimmer, a little bit better, bushier beard. Yes, that'd be perfect.
I just made Beavis for my dad.
Your Beavis is terrifying.
Not only just Beavis, you named him Beavis, just Beavis.
I just straight up made Beavis.
What was his last name?
Oh, just Beavis.
Yeah, Beavis, just Beavis.
I don't know what their canonical last name is, so just Beavis.
The weird thing is, it's like kind of sexy Beavis, which is a disturbing thing.
Yeah, it's not like regular Beavis. It's like maybe when he's a little bit older, a little bit more wise, you know?
Like if Beavis was still crazy, but also got into working out.
Yeah.
Does a suave voice talking about cornholio?
God.
Yeah, mine is pretty normal. Just like a basic dad, but it's it's fun for. You can just try so many different things that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could make a lot of real-looking people, and not just goofy-looking people. You can make really goofy-looking people. You can also make a lot of very, real-looking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to talk about Hugo? Is there anything... When do we talk about Hugo in the introduction, in the prologue? We talk to him when we first meet him when we have to go have a parent-teacher conference with him at the school, where Lucian tells us the wrong room to go to, and we come back down and to meet with Hugo. He is teaching middle and high school students because of budget cuts, and he's very clearly not of the sort of teaching style or personality to be able to handle middle schoolers particularly well.
Yeah, this game really comes down hard on middle schoolers.
Yeah, I mean, is it wrong, though?
No.
No, it's not.
No.
But
Middle school's the worst age. It's the worst. For everyone. Everyone involved.
Oh, God.
So they say that, there's budget cuts and he has to do middle school and high school. But we get to see, he talks about his middle school class later, and it's just 10 people? And that is a surprisingly small amount for a struggling school.
Oh, is it a 10-student class, or is it like their group is 10 students and there's other groups?
Oh, I don't know.
I have a feeling it was just like the one group was 10 people.
I assumed that was the full class, because he mentioned that just you and him were the only ones that could take care of these students. But either way, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it doesn't seem like, it seems like a not an area that would have a huge school.
I'm just saying I broke open this plot hole in Dream Daddy, and really they should feel ashamed.
So the thing about Hugo in the prologue bit is that he asks us about Amanda, and he's like, her grades have been slipping, and, I know this really matters to her, and, scholarships to school really matter to her, so could you just talk to her about it? And we're like, oh, we didn't know this. And on the way out of the classroom, we tell, I don't know if this is the worst joke, but damn.
Yeah. It's probably the worst joke.
Where we turn around and we go, hey, did they ever catch that rye? And Hugo, we get points with Hugo for making that joke, which is the most, I've ever been thrown out of a game in terms of believability ever.
Yeah.
I would be insulted hearing that, and I don't even care about English and reading and all of that shit. But him as a teacher is just
And he clearly cares a lot, especially about literature. He probably has a literature degree. And it's just wild. That would be insulting, and he thinks it's funny, and it doesn't make any sense.
And the worst is, this is one of those, there are a few mandatory scenes. This is one of them. I think this and Craig are both mandatory. You have to get those in the beginning. And it's, so we've seen this, 5 times already, and it just gets worse every time.
Yeah. You make this joke, and also, at the end of every day, Hugo's little call-out is, some kind of joke, like that joke.
Oh, God, no. The little line, the flavor line, the audio line at the end of each date. Oh,
yeah.
Nope.
It kind of feels all over the place, because it's is this someone who, passionately cares about this? It feels like, Hugo, the character, really passionately cares about a lot of things, and one of those is literature, and the our character and sort of the overall narrative doesn't really care about those things, but Hugo cares so much, and it's interesting that that happens in this narrative where Hugo is a character that gets bullied about what he likes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with a fan theory about Hugo now, which is that he actually is faking this whole teacher thing, and he's actually never read a book because he knows the authors and he knows the titles, and that's all that he references.
He knows enough to do trivia night.
Yeah, he knows enough to do a little bit of trivia and do puns based off of the names and titles. So I think he just did that during the school job interview, and he just fooled all the teachers and somehow became a teacher himself.
You think he just bought all those books in his house but never read them?
Did he even have a lot of books in his house? I didn't see.
Yeah, his house was full of books.
Yeah, he did. They pointed out.
So maybe is it all a scam? Like, those books are like empty shells that like you hide treasure in, or a gun?
Or maybe they're fake books like Damien's, and it's actually just Naruto.
Oh, you're right. They probably go to the same guy.
Yeah, like Damien had like the 1 or 2 secret Naruto books, and Hugo is just all Naruto books, just dressed up like Moby Dick and Catcher in the Rye.
They are really good friends.
Yeah, he's just got like the dust jacket, but inside is just wrestling fanzines, just all clipped together.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, goals, but I like our new headcanon about Hugo. So what else? At the barbecue, we learn that we meet Hugo's son, Ernest, who is in middle school and is a problem child. He is a delinquent. He goes in and vandalizes property. He also vapes for some reason, and is just generally unpleasant. He
vapes because it's cool. Okay, let's just get that down. Vaping's great.
Also, I'm pretty sure the middle schoolers are vaping now.
Wow.
They're all doing that USB stick thing.
Wow.
Oh, Juul?
Yeah.
I had a dude in grad school, swear by that. He was like, you gotta try Juul. I'm like, yeah, okay. But
yeah.
I don't know anybody who... I don't think I know anybody who vapes, for fun. I only know people who vape to quit smoking. So I don't know the world of, vaping because it's cool.
I know a few people that do that.
Yeah, but I do know folks who quit smoking after smoking for a very long time because of vaping.
I know people who claim to use vaping to quit smoking, and then they substitute smoking for vaping. And then they kind of admit to you that, well, then I had a cigarette the other day. You know what I mean? So it's like...
It's just adding on.
It's hard.
It's hard, yeah. I'm not trying to say,
It's hard.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work or anything, but I just mean that I've met my share of people who are like, yeah, I tried to use it for that, and it didn't quite work. But
always good to have a bunch of different options, figure out what works for you. Anyway, let's see. So Ernest is a delinquent, he has a bad attitude, in contrast to Lucien, who, still loves Damien at the end of the day. Ernest just seems to just really be going through some stuff and just, doesn't want to be around Hugo, doesn't want to call him dad, has such a problem with authority and just is awful. Just an awful little gremlin all the time.
Yeah, it's like Lucien still had that kind of, obviously they didn't get along too well, but, there was still, the I love you dad or whatever in the car scene. Whereas here, it's really more just he is the fuck you dad kid.
Yeah, for sure.
And part of that's age. I think they're trying to portray that Ernest is in this thing where he's, you're not going to turn him around. He's not going to grow up yet because he's still young enough where he just doesn't get it. But he's also just kind of an asshole.
So, when we message Hugo on Dad Book for the first date, we message him ourselves. I think it's interesting that some of them we message ourselves and some of them Amanda helps us with. So we just message him and are like, hey, it was nice to meet you the other day. Do you want to hang out or something? And he is like, oh yeah, sure. And immediately asks us to help him with a teaching thing. He needs an extra chaperone, or maybe the only other chaperone other than him, I don't know, on this field trip to the aquarium.
Yeah, I think the thing was chaperones like dropped out or something.
Yeah. Because no one wants to deal with middle schoolers, basically, and we're like mulling this over.
Yeah, because middle schoolers are just awful gremlins.
Yeah, we're mulling this over, and we're like, and they're in middle school, arguably the worst age to be. And man, it's true though. Middle school's the worst. I mean, at least from the perspective of a kid, it is also the worst. Having to deal with kids going through that is probably also very bad.
Well, just like being a kid, having to go through that, and then having to deal with other kids that are going through that with you, it's not great. So just, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, and at least middle school is over for the kids. Like, you know, it ends eventually. If you work there, you're just in middle school forever.
Oh no.
I mean, I know you're not supposed to think too hard about this, but, like, this is a lot to ask someone you don't know.
Yeah. Especially, like, a strange parent to go chaperone other people's kids feels, like, a little uncomfortable. Like, if the other parents knew that you just asked a random adult, even a random adult whose kid also goes to that school, it would be a little weird.
I could see it working if, like, he's done it for Amanda before, or, you know, he really knows you that well, but...
Or if he also volunteers with the school other times for, you know, whatever parent stuff.
Or if Amanda was still in this range, but she's not.
Yeah, unless our dad is highly active in the school, which we don't get a vibe of that, considering he doesn't know where Hugo is, yeah. Kinda weird.
I would be totally weirded out if it was like, the teacher was like, hey, I got some other parent that you don't know to watch the kids. It'd be like, sorry? Like, I might even complain. Like, that's a little...
Yeah. Versus getting another staff member to come help.
He does imply that we are sort of his last hope, so if, you know, basically if I was Hugo and someone complained to me...
What if they
like,
qualified it with, like, well, he's cute and I might go out with him? Is that better?
No, it's worse.
I think, no, that person, like, Hugo's gotta be hot as hell, though. Even from, like, our standpoint of, do you want to chaperone a bunch of middle schoolers that you don't know and have no authority over? Like, fuck, I don't.
It's a very, like, is he worth it kind of moment.
Yeah. You gotta be, like, thirsty. Like, you came out of the desert, like, for that shit. I don't know.
Now, on the other hand, I am sort of with Amanda on this, which is, you get to go to the aquarium and see the penguins.
Yeah, the aquarium is cool, so I can definitely see that angle of, like,
Yeah.
well, now I get to go to the aquarium.
Yeah, I mean, depends how cool their aquarium is.
This made me want to go to an aquarium. Like, I was like, damn, what am I doing next weekend, and why is it not going to the aquarium?
I gotta tell you, a real aquarium, much better than this.
Yeah, well...
I mean, this is a great aquarium, please don't get me wrong, but I'm saying just to double your... Like, you should absolutely go to the aquarium it owns.
I know, it's been so long, I don't think I've been since I was in school. So now I'm, like, really like, oh my gosh, I haven't been to an aquarium.
At least, like, the aquarium near me, super expensive, so, like, free trip to the aquarium, hell yeah.
That's true. Yeah, they are very expensive.
Can I tell a cute dad story about the aquarium?
Yeah.
Because, of course, I took my kids to the aquarium, and the first thing you see are these stingrays. And I don't know if you've ever seen the underside of a stingray, like when stingrays kind of push up against the glass, but they have, like, these little faces, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's two little eyelets, and their face, they kind of look like they're smiling, and the little frills on the edge of them look like they're waving, so my daughter totally thought they were 4 girl stingrays, and they were all her new friends waving at her. And then she cried when we left on the ride home because she thought the 4 girl stingrays would miss her. And we had to explain that they were with their family now.
You had to adopt them.
Yeah, then we had to steal a stingray, and
so you could really relate to this date here.
Yes. Podcast foreshadowing. That's what this all was.
Yeah, so we show up and we end up we are chaperoning a group of 10 12-year-old kids with Hugo, and they seem pretty chill. They're just, like, on their phones the whole time, and, you know, not really making a mess. But Hugo's like, they're too quiet. They're planning something. And they arrive in the aquarium, and I had such a bad school flashback moment when Hugo hands out these big packets to all the kids and is like, you have to turn these in by the end of the day, and it's for a grade. And God, I hated that when I was in school. Yeah. Oh, I hated it so much. I just wanted to have a nice time at the museum or wherever we were, and you had to do a packet.
At least let me turn it in tomorrow.
Yeah, and they even call it what it is. They call it what it is. It's just busy work.
Well, so I can understand it from Hugo's perspective, which is just like, please do not get in trouble and fuck over everything. So, one of the questions is just just sit quietly and think about the Great Reef or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But if it is, everything else is just go to these exhibits, fill out these questionnaires. Fuck that.
God, I'm getting the flashback now.
Let me turn it in the next day. Let me do it at home so I can enjoy it while I'm at this expensive aquarium. Let me look at the penguins and try and pet a stingray.
Yeah.
God, I totally forgot that till you mentioned it. I literally blocked that out.
Right?
All I want to do is look at the big fucking whale. It's a big whale. Look how cool that looks. Oh no, now I gotta go look at these stupid sea anemones and make write down what their actual genus is. Fuck you.
And you have to go look around and make sure you read everything, and then if you miss something, it's like you missed one pixel to click on in an adventure game. You have to go all the way fucking back through the exhibit and be like, what is this?
It's true. Oh, damn it. That Tony Roosevelt thing is when we first walked in. It's all the way back there.
Yeah, right? I would do that all the time. Oh, I hated it. I hated packets.
Can I also say when they did it for museums or art galleries, it sucked because at least for mine, they were like, all right, now draw this so that we know you saw it, I guess. And I'm just like, no, I can't compare my drawing to that.
I don't know if I ever had to draw anything.
I'll do some stick figures. What the fuck are you?
That's wild.
Especially in an art museum, it just sucks the fun out of everything. Art museums are huge. Just let me wander around and take stuff in.
Oh, I grew up outside New York City, the biggest place for museums with gigantic museums. Oh, that's what all our trips were.
They're huge.
Those damn fucking now I'm pissed off just about the goddamn packets.
Anyway, if you're a teacher and you give out a packet, you are evil.
Now, Jim, I grew up near Washington, D.C., and we also had a lot of museums near us, so I will say the benefit, and you could probably relate to this, every time you went to that same museum for a field trip, you'd eventually have memorized the location for everything now, so you'd nail that packet in, an hour, and then you'd have everything else to do.
That is true. I could literally, Museum of Natural History, I could fill out without even looking anymore. I could probably still fill it out.
Oh, yo, I gotta say though, I did Catholic school my whole life. We had no field trips. We learned nothing. It was jerking off is evil and X equals 5, and that's it.
Holy shit. Episode title.
We ain't got no budget. We ain't even paying for these teachers. They're forced to work here.
Damn. I grew up near Houston, so we went to the NASA Space Museum or whatever it's called. The Space Museum.
That's cool.
Multiple times. And multiple times we got to do the landing simulation and stuff like that, and you'd fuck it up every time, right? None of us are Captain Kirk.
Did they ever take you to the zoo? Just like the regular zoo?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the zoo and the Museum of History and Natural Science. That was the one we went to the most. But we would get to go to not NASA, but the museum thing where the space museum, and it was fun.
Actual NASA, where the 5-year-old pushes the button and launches a rocket.
Where we can go and they're like, look, kids, they closed it. Oh wow. There's no funding anymore. Wow. No, we were already old by the time that happened.
Going to the space museums where they had interactive exhibits were always fun because as a kid you were like, oh fuck, I'm gonna nail this, and you treat it like the fucking Kobayashi Maru. Just oh, I'm gonna land this going at full speed. Oh, it crashed. What do you know?
It's great. It's it's a very YOLO moment getting to do that kind of stuff where it's well, everybody else is trying, but what if I did this?
It's a very streamer thing. Oh, I'm gonna crash this ship the worst way possible because it'll make for good laughs.
God, you bring that up, and I can't even imagine what streamer culture is doing to museums and zoos and shit now.
What you mean people? They don't. I don't think anyone's streaming educational shit.
Well, I don't think that they're doing it education. It's like, hey, check me out in this Mayan artifact. Ugh.
Oh yeah, but like it's like if you make it into a social media opportunity, then you have that increased engagement of like, now I'm posting a picture about this thing, like maybe I actually kind of absorb something about it.
Like what's up, fellow gamers? We're here at the aquarium, and I want to apologize for the racist thing I said last week.
Look at these cute penguins.
Okay, you say this, but I did Google "Let's Play the Museum of Natural History," and the first thing that came up was just a person commenting about their museum to the natural history.
See?
Wow. That's what, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do too.
You could call that edutainment, couldn't you?
Just riffing on those sarcophagi.
Look at this guy, he's dead now.
And then someone who spent 5 years in Minecraft recreating every natural history museum.
Oh, that sounds cool. Anyway, so, back on the game. We walk around the aquarium with Hugo while the kids do their packets, and Hugo tells us about some cool fish, and we make up some facts about a fish as a joke in response to him, which is a pretty good joke, and I like how, like, y'all are, like, still not quite... Like, you're still not quite friends enough that you, like, don't quite know if you should laugh at each other's jokes yet, and then they're like, no, I'm joking, and it's like, ah ha ha, very funny. Hugo is genuinely, like, excited to be at the aquarium, even though he's been there, you know, a bunch of times, and has to deal with a bunch of middle schoolers, and we're caught up in his enthusiasm for learning in a way that we didn't expect, and we also think that he looks hot in the way the aquarium light casts across his face, which is very funny. And also we're still afraid of fish, like we were in Joseph's route.
They bring up the whale thing again, and it's just a little weird now. Every time they do it, I'm like, okay. That's still referencing that thing we're not supposed to know about.
Wrong timeline.
Yeah, really.
And but Hugo is like, well, you know, the easiest, like, he's like, if you learn more about it, then you won't be as scared. And so he's teaching us more about fish, and we go over to the touch tank. All the kids are at the touch tank, and he's telling us about the stingrays and all the stuff in there, and he's like, none of it's gonna hurt you. Stingrays have their barbs removed, which, like, okay, I don't know. Is that a good thing to do? I don't know.
Is it like getting a cat declawed or something?
Yeah, like, is it painful, or is it, like, they don't care? I don't know. I don't think it's a intelligent enough animal for you to be able to really tell.
Hey, now. Let's not offend any stingrays that might be watching.
I think, like, fish in general, it's kind of like, we don't really know, and it's just, I mean, there's, like, it's like, I think we only recently discovered octopi are pretty intelligent, actually.
Yeah, they escape all the time from aquariums, which is rad as hell.
Right. And it's like, yeah, you have to, like, kind of, it's like one of those collar pull things, like, oh, no. You know, like, they were smart after all. But...
Oh, no, we found out they do have souls.
Oops.
Yeah, but they'll kind of utilize very simple tools, I think, and, like, we'll get out of mazes and remember them and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool.
Did I make that up about the tools? I feel like I read that somewhere.
No, they do. And their bodies work differently, so they can, like, squeeze through stuff different, but in ways that people don't expect. And then there's dolphins, you know, the whole 9 yards of animals that are smarter than we think they are. Dolphins have language.
Yo, dolphins are overrated in my opinion, though. I don't know about that. I'm getting totally pissed off our dolphin overlords.
I'm just saying, when was the last time a dolphin ever did anything for me?
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, fuck dolphins.
There's just a lot of candidates for, like, what would have evolved into the dominant species if we hadn't done it first, you know?
Right. Dodge a couple of bullets on that one.
Yeah, so what happens at the touch tank? Oh, right. So we're having a great time at the touch tank. Oh, we touch Hugo's hand, and we're embarrassed. And then he notices that one of the girls, her backpack is wet, and so Hugo goes to stop her, and is like, "What's in your backpack?" And she has tried to steal a horseshoe crab to set him free, and we're like, "You can't." We go over to help, and we play the bad cop for some reason, and we're like, you know, I don't remember exactly what we say. We're like, I'm
we
being
ain't got
serious
time for
here.
your games.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have time for your games here. And she puts him back and everything, crisis averted. But then there's a student in the penguin enclosure.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just a distraction. One of the other kids is in the penguin enclosure that we loved so much from Damien's route, where we learned they were the goths of the sea.
Yeah. And we're apparently Hugo knows everything about marine life except for friggin' penguins, which he knows nothing about.
Yeah, so he creates a distraction and he starts talking about penguin facts while we try to bust into the enclosure and get the kid out of there before the staff notices and doesn't let us ever come back to the aquarium. Which, is that really what would happen?
Maybe.
If they stole a penguin and it died, probably.
If they successfully stole a penguin, yeah. Yeah, but if, you know, yeah, she was gonna let them all out of the enclosure so they could be free. And we explained that they would die if you let them out. They would die, but she's not budging on it.
I also do not believe her that she said she wanted to let him free, because fuck that. No middle schoolers that selfless. They wanted a pet penguin.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
They were both like, oh, we wanted to set him free. No, fuck that.
Yeah, well, and then we're like, where do you think he would live? And they're like, in my closet.
Yeah.
So they didn't really think it through. And so we're like, okay, kid, look, I'll give you $20 to get out of the enclosure. And then we play a mini game. And
yes.
This mini game is actually kind of bad. Like, I mean, it's
so
not
bad.
It's like a shitty Flash game.
It's really stupid. Like, it's like you're looking through, like, a top view of the pen, and there's all these, like, really bad, like, MS Paint or Flash drawing penguins that are, like, purple, and we have to point a sword at them and push them away because they're trying to get out of the pen.
And these gloved hands shoot out and bounce around.
This is like, I don't know what physics engine they were using or what the settings were, but, like, it didn't seem to work the way you'd think it should. Like, I don't know, like, sometimes you'd fire your gloved weird ice hand at a penguin, it'd hit a penguin, and the penguin, almost like billiard style, be knocked away, and then your frozen hand just stays there and becomes an object on the level. And then, like, sometimes you hit a penguin and it doesn't really move.
Yeah.
It seems like they didn't program in penguin to penguin collision, because I'll knock a penguin into another penguin and they just both stand still.
Is this a reference to, like, something that we don't realize what it's a reference to?
I feel like this is a reference to, like, actual Club Penguin or something.
Yeah, is it? Is that what it's a reference to? Are we too
yeah.
old to know what this is a reference to?
Like, it's that kind of thing where it's like they have the animal websites like the Neopets and the Club Penguin, and it's all these kind of dumb little mini games.
Like, this could absolutely be a Neopets Flash game, like 100%. But like, I never really played it enough to be like, oh, it's that one.
TV Tropes doesn't say anything about this. I'm like, you know, about it at all. You
Damn.
know? So like,
No rule of cool or whatever?
No, if this is a reference, I don't think, it doesn't seem like anyone, unless I'm Googling the wrong thing, but, like, it doesn't seem like anyone, like, has caught it. Well, I'm sorry, I haven't checked the official Dream Daddy wiki, so maybe that has.
I was trying to Google a reference for it, and then, just the first couple pages of Fight Club showed up, so maybe it's that, who knows.
Of course. How could we have missed the reference to Fight Club?
This sucked. It, like, compare this to the mosh pit one that they had for Matt, like, holy shit, this was bad. And
I feel like this one was just entirely a joke. And the only thing that this game does right is near the end you have to switch to bribe the teenager or bribe the middle schooler, and your open hand becomes like a hand with money in it. And if you hit a penguin, then the penguin like takes the money and runs away with it.
It's got money in its beak, yeah. That's kind of funny. But like it also, the physics there fuck up, and sometimes the penguins don't quite move out of the way. and you have to just keep shoving them with the money hand until, like, finally you get enough of a gap to, like, shoot one through. Like, it's so sloppy.
I had a penguin with money escape. He stole my money and ran.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had like 3 penguins escape, and they didn't get anywhere near the door.
The penguin with money is gonna go retire in the Bahamas now. That penguin's set for life, thanks to you.
No, he's finally gonna take down Batman. God damn it! This honestly, this really felt like a Newgrounds game.
Yeah. It feels like it was referencing some kind of shitty game.
It's got that kind of aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just bad. It's not. It's like somebody put that together in like 30 minutes, being like, I don't know, whatever. We'll just fling these things at the thing.
I don't know. What color are the penguins? They're purple. Who cares?
But it's unusual. Yeah, this game has so many good little minigames that, like, even if, like, the execution is, like, even if the gameplay mechanics of it are, like, barely there or fake or whatever, like, the execution lands, and it's like, oh, this is great. I love that this is here. And I wish that there were even more little mini games in this game than there were, because I really enjoyed those. But this was definitely the weakest one.
I kind of like this one though, just because of how sloppy and dumb it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
I mean, it doesn't, but honestly, I think it makes the whole game worse.
It was kind of a downer. Like, I was so excited to play another mini game, and then it was that, and I was like, oh, this sucks.
I mean, like, I don't mean to be, it sounds like I'm being a snob or something, but it really is just, like, badly done. Like, all in all, like, there's one cute part of it, but it's like, then just do that cute part and, like, an extra thing, but, like, don't make me play this. This is just, like, the other stuff is at least, like, funny, that, you know what I mean? Like, but this is just, like, I don't even know what you're going for here. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, look, that doesn't hurt the experience, per se, like, in the sense of, like, this knocked it down from, like, to a B+ or some shit like that. Like, it's a minor annoyance, but, like, I'm still not. Like, I think they should have excised this.
Yeah.
I feel like this is, like, we included mini games for everyone but Hugo. I can't think of anything, and we have a week to launch, and we still got to take off that weird Joseph route before they notice. You know what I mean? Like, so, just, like, throw something together real quick.
Yeah, it almost feels like it should have been a tower defense segment, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
It turns out this was a minigame from the Cut Joseph route, and instead of penguins, it was like demons that we were pushing back.
Ah, of course.
So they just changed it to penguins.
So we get through that, we bribe the child, and Hugo's like, oh, thank you for helping with that, and we're like, yep, we bribed her with money, and she left. And Hugo's like, you know what, sure. And he's like, thank you for putting up with all that, and he says, well, next time next time we'll go out, I'll take you out in repayment for this ridiculous thing that you did to help me. And we get home, and Amanda, I think it's interesting we see this, like, kind of dichotomy with how all the kids, like the students, react to Hugo versus how we react to him and the other adults react to him. Because Amanda still, like, really thinks Hugo's a big stick in the mud, and is like, that guy, you know, he's what a dweeb, and we're like, actually, he's, like, kind of cool. He's, like, you know, it was fun to hang out with him and, like, talk about cool fish and stuff. And it really, right off the bat, we start to see that dichotomy highlighted between, like, how Hugo is as a person versus how he is at school. So that's cool. I like that a lot. I feel like this game doesn't have a lot, because a lot of the parents are, like, good parents that have a good relationship with their kids, that we don't see a lot of, like, oh, I'm one way over here and I'm a different way over here. But, like, with a teacher, that's, like, very, like, I have my school persona, which is more strict than my actual self outside of work. And then when you finish the date, he says something, I didn't write it down, but it's, like, it's one of those types of jokes, like, did they ever catch that rye?
No, it was, Paradise Lost just got found.
Oh, I got a different one.
I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I got that one twice.
Oh, I'm JK rolling with delight.
I got that one twice also.
Which is like, number one, rolling with delight isn't a thing, right? I've never heard that before. I'm rolling with delight. What?
Yeah, it's rolling on the floor laughing, I guess. would be what he was going for.
I guess. But also is like this like high-end, literature snob going to make a reference to the Harry Potter woman? What the fuck? Like,
I have a theory that this is a Ray joke. That he was like, can I, or either they asked him to, or he was like, did some exclusive thing, because that kind of joke could totally work if you were trying to do that sort of ironic bad joke kind of thing, or on humor with the right verb or something, but kind of doesn't really work for Hugo specifically.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really land.
That could be like a lot of the like the Will Ferrell movies and stuff. They'll just do like take after take of just say something weird. So it's all improv, but you just keep just saying things over and over again. They could have done that, where they're just like, "Oh, that was funny. We'll just throw that in."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. It totally feels like something like that, where it's like that could be funny on its own, but not. Yeah, but like here, it's weird for Hugo to be doing it,
and it sort of adds because we've seen everyone or most everyone else's, and they're like endearing in their own way, and this one's just sort of a cheesy joke.
But Hugo also loves cheese, so, it's...
That's true. It fits.
That kind of owns.
Yeah, but that's a plus in the Hugo category, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Somebody invites you out for a good cheese board, fuck yeah.
Alright, so date 2 starts, and we text Hugo again on Dad Book, and we're like, do you wanna hang out? And he responds with a response meant for another teacher, where he was complaining about a student who keeps printing a photo of Jackie Chan in a mesh shirt on the library printer, which was great because I immediately knew what that picture was.
Yeah,
and that,
same here.
So it really landed for me. And I was like, damn, it's a good picture. And we even say, like, damn, it's a good picture. Like, give me some of those for my private collection or my scrapbook. And Hugo invites us out to get a cheese board. God, I want a cheese board. I want to go to the aquarium, and I also really want to go to cheese. There's one really close to my house, a place like this. God, I want to go. It's 9:30. I should go.
There are places that just do like cheese boards.
Yeah, it's like cheese and meat and wine, like pairings, and you get all of it together. Like, just like this.
I got like fondue places, but not like just like cheese boards.
Yeah, a lot of wine bars will do stuff like this, yeah.
It's called like the cheese bar.
Oh, okay. I gotta find this out then. That sounds rad.
Oh god, I really want a cheese board. I love cheese.
Damn it. Fuck this podcast. I'm getting a cheese.
Let's go get a cheese board.
I'm so hungry. So, a proof that we're old, all of us here on Visual Novel Book Club, Amanda doesn't understand cheese boards. She is like, what, that's okay, sure, fine. And we're like, you don't understand? This is extremely important. And both our character and Hugo, like, treat the cheese board with the utmost importance. And I really appreciate that, level of commitment in this game.
Yeah.
I also love that when they do actually order it, they just say the biggest one that you have to the waiter.
Just fuck me up, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's good. I also fantasize of going into a restaurant and when they take my order, like, just being able to say, just fuck me up, and they know what to bring me. Hello, my fellow millennial. Just fuck me up.
That's just, like, a fantastic thing to do. It's just, like, when you don't care about the cost, you're like, yo, waiter, whatever you recommend. No, don't tell me what it is, just bring it out. Let's go.
Tell the chef to fuck me up.
Yeah, exactly. And then all you hear from the back is like, no, he said do it.
I give you permission.
And then suddenly you hear, nobody's ordered that dish in 20 years.
Like the chef comes out with like tears in his eyes, and he's like, thank you so much.
Okay, no joke that this actually did happen to Ty Tuesday and I when we went to Boston for PAX. We went to this place and we were like, there's bone marrow on this menu. That sounds fucking awesome. Let's have that. And then the chef came out and hand-delivered it to us because no one ever fucking orders that.
Oh, bone marrow's the best. I used to get bone marrow tacos. Oh, so good.
Sorry for vegetarians out there.
But yeah.
But yeah, it is good, I agree. Yeah, God, that's the like genie I wish you free of orders at a restaurant. At least you hope, right? Like you hope that it's not a bad day and they're just mad at you for making them think more. So we are at the cheese bar, and there's trivia. It's one of those places. It's a trivia place, and Matt and Brian are there with their daughters, and they have a trivia team, and we're like, all right, we're in. We're also doing trivia night, and you know, here's Brian here to be unnecessarily competitive, but it seems pretty okay. So we set up and we get to pick the name of our team, and their team is Provolone 2 Lost in New York. And I understand how that was such a good name that they had to make it like hard coded, like that's the other team, so that you always have to see this joke. And then the other three, whatever, who cares? But Provolone 2 Lost in New York, you've got to see that one every time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I also like, I also relate to Matt here. He's just like, yeah, Brian really answers all the questions. I'm just here to eat the food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get the reward when we win.
Yeah. Matt's still good. So what did you name yourself?
Oh, Real Monsters.
Yeah, I went with that.
I picked Craigslist Swiss Connections.
Yeah, that's what I picked too.
I was thinking of Craigslist Swiss, but I went with Easy, Breezy, Beautiful. Like that one.
None of them are as good as Provolone 2 Lost in New York.
Oh, not even close. No.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Havarti like it's 1999 because it's just bad.
So, who else is here that we've met before at this cheese bar?
Quizmaster Quinn.
Carmen Cito.
Quizmaster Quinn is still having trouble with his wife, and it's coming through in his quizmastering. Well, wait, I'm sorry. He was like Spin Master Quinn before, right?
Yeah.
He also said his real name is Richard.
Yeah, Quinn isn't even his real name. What a twist. I feel betrayed by this character. Not really.
I wonder if you experience this different because both Quizmaster Quinn and Spin Master Quinn are on second dates, so technically you could do both in one playthrough. I wonder if they reference that at all, if you see them on the same thing.
Probably.
A good question.
So we have a whole trivia section here, y'all, and I gotta say, I don't know any trivia.
I knew exactly one question in this one. And I will say, they start us off with a question where the correct answer is not actually correct. They ask us for some Elvish name for a continent in the Lord of the Rings universe.
Mm-hmm.
And we answer Endor, which is, of course, Star Wars planet. Or it's a moon, I'm sorry. Oh my god, no. The internet, please.
No, you're not correct.
Are they both Endor?
Yeah, they're both Endor.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Within his stories, Tolkien translated the name Middle-earth as Endor.
Sometimes it's Enor, sometimes it's Endor. We're looking at the same Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, we are, yeah. Totally. Did Google autocomplete Elvish name for continent as you were typing?
Yep.
Like for me? Yep, okay, yeah, so.
Well, fuck you, Dream Daddy Wikipedia.
Oh, Dream Daddy Wiki gets it wrong too?
Yeah, they said that they said it's the correct answer, but not actually correct. So I didn't actually look up if Endor was, because I trusted them. Ugh.
Wow.
I streamed this and people were like, well, I was like, because I said on stream, like, it can't be Endor, that's Star Wars, and someone in chat was like, no, that is, and I'm like, oh, alright, you got it.
See, now that you mention this, I think I remember reading something that they did name Endor based off of that, but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, I was always right, no matter what. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, now we've all learned an actual piece of trivia, which is that the two Endors are the same in the... And I feel like I'm going to remember that forever now, and it's your fault.
Well, this just proves that Ewoks and elves have the same common ancestors.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Hobbits are Ewoks.
Yes.
Just less hairy. You gotta shave them a little bit.
Who can say?
You gotta
Just a little bit.
Yeah, really just a little, honestly. Just the face part.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Do they enjoy that, or what?
So, we go through all the questions. There's a bunch of quiz questions. I don't know any of them. It's all like nerd shit, so like maybe you would know it. Like, this is like Star Wars questions, and there's some wrestling questions, and some classical literature questions, and some horror movie questions, and yeah. And then...
So we start off with the theme of literature, and then we go into cinema, and then we go to cool animals, and then, a finale about, wrestling.
which nerds don't like at all.
Yeah,
No.
And so Hugo is, like, stoked. He's like, oh my gosh, wrestling, I know everything about wrestling. We got this. And he answers all the questions right immediately, and, he gets mad because the final wrestling question is wrong, and it's for the shortest wrestling match, I believe, that has ever taken place, and Quizmaster Quinn's card. I mean, he's like, dude, I just have these written on a card. Like, I don't know if it's right or not. And he was like, that's wrong. It's this. It's not this. And Quinn's like, sorry. I don't know. I just have the card. I can't help you. And Hugo's mad. And he's like, I'm gonna write a letter about this and all this stuff. And, Hugo is super into wrestling. He knows everything about it. And wrestling history, and he doesn't want to tell us why he knows so much about wrestling. Like, we're like, so you like wrestling? And he's like, yes, just pick it up around.
And it's just like, the clear answer is just that you like it. Like, it's not like this is gonna be some big secret. So, like, I was thinking that he was, like, hiding that he was actually a secret wrestler.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
But no, his big secret is he just likes wrestling.
Also, because he's built like he could be a wrestler.
Yeah, we comment on that later. That
He's very strong.
Yeah.
I wanted him to be a secret wrestler. But we win the trivia night. We get a $25 gift card to an auto store. And we're like, hell yeah, what are you gonna spend those winnings on? And we're like... I don't even remember what we're like. We're gonna get like a car charger or something.
Two different tire pumps.
Oh right, to have at different places and tire pressure gauges. Yeah, and so yeah, I didn't know any of those things from trivia night, but I cheated and won, and Hugo's happy that we won, and we press the issue about his wrestling knowledge, and you have to actually press the issue in the dialogue twice and be like, no, you have to, like, ask again. Like, what? No, you have to tell me. And he's like, okay, fine. And he's like, come with me. And he takes us into his house. And we say, like, oh, it looks exactly the way I imagined, which is it's, like, full of books and art. And he says, oh, sorry, it's a mess. And we think to ourselves, it's not a mess, it's spotless.
Yeah.
Which is a cute little bit of characterization for Hugo as well. And he takes us into a special room that he has set aside, which is just wrestling paraphernalia and memorabilia and action figures and all kinds of stuff. He has a wrestling room.
Yeah, he's got like replica championship belts and stuff. He's got the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, and we're like, whoa, and he's embarrassed about it, and we're like, no, like, this is so cool that, like, you're so into this, and, like, tell me about all the stuff, and he's like, well, and, Ernest shows up to yell at Hugo for buying the wrong kind of pizza rolls, because he bought low-sodium pizza rolls, which are, quote-unquote, healthier.
It could happen. I mean, look, technically,
you know, literally.
I mean, yes, healthier in comparison to regular pizza rolls is not very difficult to achieve.
No, I'm saying, yeah, exactly.
Shoutouts to pizza rolls.
But you know, kids, like that's he has to eat pizza rolls, so you have to get it where you can.
Yeah, he's not gonna eat anything else. Yeah. Ernest is rude. He's like, why am I not allowed to be in... I thought no one was allowed in your wrestling room. And he's like, no, just you aren't allowed because you keep, wanting to, pose all the figures like they're having sex. And Ernest gets really embarrassed that Hugo has said these words out loud to him in front of another person and leaves.
That'll do it.
It's true, though. I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing that would embarrass, like, a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hugo, kind of talks about Ernest. He's like, Ernest is going through a really bad phase. He's in middle school, and he has a problem with authority. And no matter what Hugo can do, no matter how much Hugo cares about Ernest, he can never impress him. Then Hugo talks about his situation with Ernest's father. And Hugo's like, I'm the responsible parent, and my ex-husband is the fun parent who gets Ernest on the weekends, and Hugo's the one who has to, like, be the boring parent who, like, has to, like, lay down the law and, be like, oh, you have to eat the low-sodium pizza rolls. And, that sucks. Poor Hugo.
Yeah.
Wait until the weekend dad sees that huge fucking monster that we saw on Damien's route, though. Gonna have to deal with that dog now too.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
The dog, yeah. I'm sad the dog doesn't happen on this route, and
Yeah.
I want it to, like, kind of happen anyway. Like, I wish that it happened in both routes. I don't know. I guess it's, like, too much has changed in the timeline.
I don't know. In any timeline, like, Damien doesn't have to be dated for the dog to escape. Like, the dog should end up in the house anyway.
Yeah, that should be a universal constant.
There really should have been, yep. They missed on this one.
It was such a good moment. So that made me sad.
And also just like seeing and that's what could break down a kid of that age range. Like they're not gonna think their dad's cool, but you might get through to them emotionally with a pet.
Yeah, and it was, like, such a good, like, ending for them and, like, a good, like, moment for them. And it's in a different route. And there is no emotional closure between Hugo and Ernest on this route. And that sucks. The dog was such a good moment.
I'm gonna guess that in this route, we didn't date Damien, so we didn't approach the dog inside Hugo's house. So the dog still gets in the house, messes everything up, and then just leaves.
Because Damien couldn't find her.
It's also date 3, but
Yeah, you couldn't do both, yeah.
yeah, these are conflicting timelines.
To that point, I was a little bit sad that, like, of all the kids that we've seen so far, none of the kids have, like, shown any, like, parts of, like, emotional vulnerability except for Amanda. And I was like, no, we should explore that more.
Yeah, I am sad you don't get to know the kids better. But I don't know. I mean, we only date for, like, 4 weeks or whatever, so it's kind of like before that, I guess.
Yo, you gotta look out for kid number 1, your kid, okay? That's the dream daddy way, alright? That other dad, they gotta love you or the kid, and that's it. Mutually exclusive.
You can have a side kid. You can have a kid on the side.
Can't have a side kid. You could maybe, like, raise a kid on your own, like in Tarzan, like the gorillas do, but, like, I don't know. That's...
Oh, okay.
just get some gorillas for your kids on the weekend for babysitting.
Remember? Because in Tarzan, the gorilla loses her baby gorilla, and Tarzan's parents die, and it's like, chocolate meat peanut butter, but, like,
Jesus Christ.
Normally...
No. Nope. Mm-mm.
Dream daddy world,
And especially because Amanda is older than all these other kids, it's a lot more like, it's not like, I think it would have been interesting if we had a dad to date that had a kid that was Amanda's age and was in her class. I think that would be an interesting thing to explore, but everybody's kids are younger.
Well, we still have I don't know, what's his name, Craig? We still have Craig with his daughter. We could have that.
Brian?
Brian.
Or
yeah.
Brian.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah, but Daisy's 10. And Robert has a mystery daughter. We haven't met her, if she exists.
Yeah.
Do we know Robert's child's a daughter? Is that his daughter, or...?
Oh, that might be a little bit of a spoiler. I just saw it on, I'm saying that probably because I saw it on the wiki, but I actually don't remember. I just said that.
No, I was only asking to wonder because I'm curious about Robert. I didn't know if I missed something, but
anyway, so we have that moment with Hugo where he kind of. I like the routes where they tell us a little bit more about their situation, and we actually kind of know what's going on. And so Hugo's divorced, and then we get home and we tell Amanda that we had a good time, but we don't tell her that Hugo likes wrestling so that she can't use it to blackmail him. Which I feel is a good acknowledgement of oh right, this is also your teacher that I'm dating. I feel like he doesn't lean into it enough. I would have liked to see another scene or more scenes with Amanda reacting to us dating her teacher. Saying I was in class and, in Mr. Vega's class and I was thinking about how y'all are dating and either it's weird or funny or something like that.
She just has one that's hey, can I get can you convince him to give me a break on the phone? And we're just no, that's for you to handle.
And she's so casual about it. When you're in school, your teachers, there's so much, there's a myth around all of your teachers, right? Everyone's trying to figure out, what's their deal and, make up, weird things about them and jump on personal details. That's such a thing in school. It's it's weird that it's oh no, Amanda doesn't care about that. She would absolutely care about it. She loves reality television.
Well, but the mystery is gone now. Because she knows what Hugo's deal is, which is he's dating your dad. So now there's no more mystery for Hugo.
Yeah, but she's well, what does he do? What is he like outside of school? What's his house like? What's all that stuff like? There's a whole level of oh, if she found out about the wrestling thing, she'd be oh my god, this is a whole new dimension to this person.
I feel like Amanda's probably yeah, I probably guessed that one. Amanda would be smug about it.
Probably. And even as well adjusted as she is, it would you would still be mortified if your dad was dating a teacher.
Your teacher? Yeah.
Mortified. Yeah, and your friends would not stop giving you shit.
Oh no.
That would be constant. It's all you hear about.
I would make fun of Amanda. I'm not even in that situation.
Especially in high school. Absolutely. 100%.
No, I'm living at 40 right now. I would make fun of Amanda.
Not even necessarily in a mean way, just in an embarrassing way. Just to be as embarrassing as possible all the time. So, date 3. Your trivia team has been running the tables at trivia night, and it is the 4th week that we have won, which shows us, so we've been dating Hugo for about 4 weeks. So that's the timeline of the 3 dates, or of the whole thing, right? is 4 weeks. And that's kind of what it feels like, but it was nice to have an actual, number. And we're trying to think of a gift, of a wrestling-related thing that we could surprise him with. At first we're oh, should we get him, a book or something? Well, what book could I, an uneducated pleb, give to Hugo that he wouldn't know? And so we're trying to figure out something we could surprise him with. Another thing that we didn't really touch on is that our character says a lot of stuff that's that we're dumb, that we don't know stuff, that we're uneducated in response to Hugo, and I don't like that. I think that's a weird self-deprecation thing that's different than us not knowing about being goth or exercising, because that's just this is a subject I don't know about. But with Hugo, it's I'm just dumb, sorry.
I have to admit, though, I saw things of this in the Joseph route, where it's I'm going to, Jesus, I don't know, where we just yell that to a kid we haven't met, but,
So how's the Jesus? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I've forgotten how to act entirely in front of people,
Yeah.
I mean, I think, honestly, our dad's pretty, our dad's pretty lovable goofball in all the scenarios, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel when our character talks about things that he doesn't know or that he can't do, it kind of it cuts you out of the blank slate to project yourself into, because it's like, no, I'm a mystery. Like, I could be anybody, but I don't know anything about this.
Right.
And it's kind of like, I don't know. I wish that wasn't, like, emphasizing things that you lack is, like, not attractive, and our character should not be doing that on a date.
It feels a bit self-deprecating when the dad does it, because it's like, I don't know anything. Jesus, who's that?
It's not even just self-deprecating, because you can kind of balance, like, being, like, you can do self-deprecation if you balance it, right? So you try to be impressive at points and a little self-deprecating, so you maintain that humility. But this is just, like, shitting on yourself frequently for no good reason.
Yeah, especially in Hugo's route about, like, your intelligence in general versus about a specific thing.
I think, yeah. It's funny because I think it's one of my, like, second things I don't, like, the second worst thing I think you can do with, like, blank slate projection characters is the whole, like, because, like, once you do that, yeah, you're like, I think you kind of said it before, it's like, you've given them a defining characteristic, and now that might or might not mesh with who the player, you know?
Yeah, just like when I was mad that our character didn't know the difference between Matisse and Magritte, and I do. And I, you know, like, that might be a reason I like one of those characters, Matt or Hugo, to date. And I'm like, oh, well, but I'm playing as this guy who doesn't know anything about art.
Oh, dopey old Manzer tank.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah. I'm sorry, but anyway, yeah. So, but this time, our character does the thing I hate the most in visual novel, although I don't mind it here, which is they go out and do something on their own, which is decide to surprise Hugo with something, and it's not really much of a surprise. I think we all guessed what we got Hugo, and it was, in fact...
A book for shitting.
A book for shitting, right, but inside the book for shitting.
Yeah, we get him one of those bathroom books. Yeah.
The Crapper Keeper.
But then we're like, oh, maybe you should look through it. And there's wrestling tickets inside. And he is super stoked for us to give him those. And we're at trivia night. And just as an aside, Quizmaster Quinn is finally going to couples counseling. Everyone staged an intervention for him. And it seems like him and his wife are doing a lot better. And he just keeps talking about how thankful he is for the community's support. And God... wow, what a character. What a character, that Quizmaster Quinn.
Character development for the only character that matters.
Exactly. So, wrestling.
Oh, and the best is when he gives, our dad gives Hugo the wrestling tickets. The only thing I can picture is the Michael Shannon scene in Groundhog Day when he's like, WrestleMania, no way!
Literally that.
Yeah, it was great.
So when the night arrives of the wrestle night, and Hugo shows up with a shirt that says Pablo Escobar, genuine wrestle boy. It's quite a shirt.
I don't know much about wrestling, but I liked this whole thing. Like, it was a big tour de force. Like, so many jokes at, like, but, like, it's, like, all, like, semi-believable wrestling names and personas and things like that during the event. Like, 10 out of 10 for this whole scene.
It really makes fun of, but, like, in a joyful way of, like, how wrestling just uses whatever shtick and doesn't care about, like, where the person's actually from or how culturally appropriative they're being. Like, that's wrestling, and it doesn't try to make it, like, not that. I mean, obviously, Pablo Escobar is a reference to Pablo Escobar, which would be the cocaine drug lord. And then he renames himself to the Eastern Dragon, and he's not. Even if he was, it still would be racist. So that's great. It's just very like, this is wrestling. This is what wrestling is. And so I that was funny.
Yeah, and that is extremely what wrestling is, 100%. But they do it in, like, this is another good thing that Dream Daddy always seems to do, or at least frequently seems to do, which is, like, they really capture, this sweet spirit and this honest passion, and they almost in every route they capture this sort of, this really nice way of portraying that, and it works again in this one.
So we drive there. We have to drive an hour out of town to somewhere in Massachusetts, so that's where this takes place. And Hugo talks about how he's embarrassed to admit that he likes wrestling because his liberal intellectual East Coast friends would consider wrestling lowbrow. Which, like, who? Matt? Like, no. What? Damien? No.
The other teachers in high school and middle school? Probably not.
Right? Like, who? Who are these friends? So, I don't know. Other friends that are not in this game.
He's worrying about the kids at the school making fun of him.
Yeah, he is worried about that also later. And he talks about, he hasn't been to a wrestle show since he was a kid. So he's like really stoked that we're actually going. And he's shocked at what the crowd looks like, that there's a lot of families there and stuff like that. And he's like, wow, this is like different. And it seems like more, we're back in a place right now where wrestling is like big again. And I don't know, tell us about the matches, the wrestling matches that happened.
They were great. There was there's one that, I forget what his name is, but it's a little bit it's kind of like the Iron Yuppie from The Simpsons, but a little more fleshed out. And he's gonna fight the Eastern Dragon. I can't think of his name.
Well, there was one before that where it's like the Y2K, which is like the millennial.
That's right.
Wrestler.
Versus the old timer.
Yeah, versus the old timer who comes in with a cane, and the Y2K wrestler has like a phone, and he's taking selfies with the wrestle people.
Yeah, and he blinds them with the camera flash on the phone, and yeah.
Oh, I remember the Eastern Dragon fights the corporate shill, who has a PowerPoint presentation beforehand explaining why he is going to beat the Eastern Dragon.
And then Eastern Dragon is like, well, I think we're gonna have a good match. And then, like, Hugo's like, he's not great at trash talk. Which is, like, pretty, yeah. Imagine that joke, but delivered well.
Yeah.
So,
That's great,
yeah, this was, like, honestly, like, I don't think we can't do this justice. This was, like, I think one of the best written scenes in all of the routes, personally.
You kind of just have to read it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, like, really good.
It was fun. A lot of good wrestling personas. A lot of it captured the mood really well of, like, how cheesy everything was, but still enjoyable.
Yeah. And like you said before, not in like a mocking way, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm not really a wrestling fan at all, but I'm saying, like, you could definitely tell the people who wrote this were, or at least, like, had, like, that level of deference of, like, this is funny, we're gonna make fun of it in the fun way. Like, yeah, all good.
Yeah. It's like that old cliche, like, write what you know. And then even if the people who are reading what you're writing don't know anything about it, it's still that level of authenticity and that level of affection comes through. It always will.
And they do a smart thing when the start. They drop some terminology. They talk about, like, marks and smarks and things like that. So it's like they kind of, like, drop a little, like, we know what we're talking about, maybe, you know, and then they go with it, and it just all works.
I just like that at the beginning they do kind of, like, address that it's fake, but even so, it's impressive because it's real physical activity and it's choreographed and practiced, but there's still, they still kind of get hurt.
No, yeah, like, if Lawrence Taylor was in did like a WW, I think F, it was known back then, event, and afterwards he said it's just like one of the most physically strenuous things I've ever done. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's choreographed, but it's rough. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But after the second match before the main event, I think we go out to the concessions to get something.
We do.
And who's there?
Cliff.
Colin.
It's Colin and apparently all of the students. Hey, it's all your kids.
Colin and his group of friends from Hugo's class are there. The 12-year-olds. They're here. And he's like, they can't see me here. Like, they can't see me like this. Being a normal person who likes things. And he's like, they're gonna make fun of me. Like, I'll lose complete control over the class.
And he goes, and this is almost like a Homer Simpson plan. It's like, I got it, hide in my shirt, which is the correct choice.
This is so horny for, like, wow, what a horny move, my dad. What a always on that game.
How about Hugo going with it? Too?
I know.
Yeah,
Also, Hugo's a big boy. I don't know how you get him under your shirt, because that's you wearing a baggy shirt.
Yeah, we frequently talk about how he's like a larger person than we are.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, all you really need is his face under that, and the students aren't going to be like...
Yeah.
I mean, they'll laugh at you, but they won't know it's the teacher.
Yeah. There's not continued mockery throughout your life. It's just that one day.
Hey, get a room, you two.
God, it's wild. So we do that. We smuggle in back to the seats, and we watch the Eastern Dragon versus the Corporate Shill, and the Eastern Dragon loses. Aww. But it was still really cool, and we still had a lot of fun. And while we are sitting in the stands, we don't go get snacks a second time because we don't want anyone to see us. And I don't know if they really do this at wrestling. I guess they do. I don't know. I just think of it as more like a sporting event in a big arena versus like a wrestling arena. And there's a kiss cam. Kiss cam's going around the audience, and we find ourselves on the kiss cam with Hugo. Oh no.
So already his cover's blown, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People know he's there now because of space. And we like kind of are like, well, might as well, and like lean over at him, and the camera pans, and like it was actually the people behind us that it was focusing on, and we're like, oh right, yeah, of course, haha, funny.
Nah, I don't think you can like play that up. You know what I mean? Like Dream Daddy,
Yeah.
they kind of do it like, oh, that wasn't us, whatever. But it's like you made the move.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got it. Now you do have to commit or whatever, you know? Like, obviously, you'll find out later Hugo would have been cool with it, whatever, but, like, that's not one of those moments you can be like, just kidding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that's what we do.
Gotcha. Right, yeah. Totally platonic people just make out all the time if the kiss cam comes on. That's just convention, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of the kiss cam.
We're just buds. That's good friends.
Yeah, you know, and you know all those the wrestling matches where they turn the cameras away from the ring and into the audience,
right?
And have them make out, as is common in wrestling. Yeah, you know.
Oh, especially at wrestling in America, where they definitely would put two dudes in frame. Absolutely. Yeah, they're totally open-minded like that. Fuck, it's wrestling. They don't care.
Yeah. Wrestling known for being open-minded about gender and sexuality. Then we keep watching, I guess, and then it's over. We like wait a really long time to go out into the parking lot because we want to make sure the kids leave first, so they don't see us. And there's like nobody left in the parking lot. There's like only a couple other cars there, and we head back to our car, and we are like, how about that kids cam? That was funny, right? And Hugo's like the same way. He's like, haha, yeah, wow, how about that? And there's tension, and then suddenly someone else is here. It's him. It's the WrestleMan, the Eastern Dragon.
Eastern Dragon.
He recognizes Hugo's shirt.
The good Russell boy.
Yeah. And he comes and says hi, and I love this. Like, I also love the reality of like this wrestler, like not really like objectively being that big of a deal, and so he's like super stoked that someone is a fan of his, or that like somebody even cares about like who he is, you know. And he's like just so happy
that he's been following him since his indie days.
Yeah, and it turns out that they both go to the same wrestling forum.
Yeah, and he knows, and he says, like, oh yeah, I like this one poster, JD Slamminger, and he was like, that's me, and he's like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you, and like, they're both excited to meet each other, and that is adorable.
And at this point, as the dad, you're like, well, I guess this is it for me. I just bow out of the story at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal was really to just help Hugo meet the Eastern Dragon, and now Hugo can be happy.
Yeah. The Eastern Dragon signs Hugo's shirt for him, and, you know, maybe he writes his phone number on there, maybe he doesn't. We don't know. And Hugo's like so excited that he got to say hi and that he knew he was, and that now the Easter Dragon is gonna private message him on the forums. Like, yeah. And we're all stoked. And then the kids are here also, the teens. Colin and his friends.
Hugo's nemesis, Colin.
It's like Colin's all like, Colin's like, oh, Mr. Vega, you're here at wrestling? What a loser. And all the other kids are like, no, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, we're 12. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, right?
What I like, it's like Colin's like calling him a fart knocker and stuff and trying to make fun of him, and all his friends are just like cool with it.
But Colin's a heel, you see. So he has to keep going. Yeah?
And of course, we show off our shirt to be like, no, we're cool now.
It's such a weird interaction that this 12-year-old is going out of his way to bully his teacher. Like, what? It's such a weird interaction.
It's weird. That happens in Breaking Bad also, and I'm like, it's because it's like your teacher still has to give you grades and stuff. It's not like you're on summer vacation and you're never going to see them again. So it's like, maybe Colin would whisper about that or do a prank later, but, like, I don't think they would openly, like, mock the I don't know.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like a 12-year-old.
You would joke about it with your friends. You wouldn't make insults directly at the teacher. You would joke about it with your pals later.
You get in trouble. Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so Hugo says, in response to Colin, he says, see you in class, bitch. And Colin is like, you can't say that. And he says, who's gonna believe you? And then we leave. Which, like, is really bad from a professional standpoint, but is so funny.
Yeah.
Also, it's like, this whole thing, Hugo doesn't seem to be a great teacher.
Yeah, right?
Like, he just honestly is just kind of mailing this in the entire time we see him interact with his kids.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's what I'm saying. He's never gotten a teaching degree.
No. Like I said, he probably has a literature degree.
He is scared that the kids are going to find him out.
Yeah, he has like a different, he got a different degree. I mean, he sounds like, because he's like, oh, I like write academic publications for fun. It sounds like he wanted to get a higher level academic job and didn't, and is a high school and middle school teacher.
Again, Breaking Bad reference, see?
So, but the "who's gonna believe you" line was extremely funny, even though it's just a wild scenario to even happen. And we drive home. We take Hugo back to his house and back to the wrestling room. And he's like so happy that that we had such a great time, and we're like, yeah, like I totally I get it. I want to know more about wrestling, and and Hugo's like, oh, I'll teach you some wrestling moves.
Yeah, he will.
And it's like, it's kind of played like more serious than I thought. Like, he does not say this to us with the intention of purely flirting with us. He's like, no, I will actually teach you some wrestling moves also right now.
Yeah, that kind of thing really should be done with, like, you gotta, like, raise your eyebrows when you're doing it, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna show you some wrestling moves, but
right?
He's just like, no, you want me to show you? I'll show you.
Yeah, we don't quite have that interaction where, like, we, like, try to turn it into innuendo, and then he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, we just are kind of like, okay.
No, he would be totally into it. He would show us the move and then be like, this is the move that the Easter Dragon used to win his first premier match against the Warbling Wombat.
And that's kind of what he does. He teaches us some moves. We note again that he is very strong. I don't even remember what happens. I think he, like, he doesn't throw us, but he
pins us to the
knocks
ground.
us over and pins us, yeah.
Yeah, this is totally, I mean, come on.
Yeah, this
is not something you do with pals, like, once you're a certain age, like.
Yeah, because you could get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, they're gonna knock over all those figurines that are so meticulously organized.
Just make a mess everywhere.
what I do like is that when he's got you pinned to the ground, the dialogue option you get is "go for it" or "tap out, you coward."
That's true.
Which I love. And then you kiss him.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the end. That's actually it. Kind of like then I think kind of ends, right?
That's the last choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the date. The last notes. Sorry, it's fade to black like the other ones, I think. But the last thing I have in my notes is, how on earth do you fuck in a house where a kid like Ernest lives?
Oh God.
He'd be too embarrassed to do anything.
Well, Ernest gets to spend time with other dads, so.
Oh, maybe it's the
you gotta
weekend.
Wait till those points.
Yeah, maybe it's the weekend.
Yeah.
He's not there.
Or the ex is watching him while we go to wrestling.
Anyway, on to the finale.
Which is, our usual bit, we're giving Amanda the awkward dad party, but at least there's other kids there. Ernest finally has his moment of like, hey, like, thanks for making my dad happy, or something like that. He comes up to us at the party.
Yeah, I really like this. Like, he comes up to us and he's like, thanks for being nice to my dad, because a lot of people are like mean to him.
Because no one's ever nice to him, including me.
It's like it's just such an honest thing, though. It's like people are mean to him, and I'm glad that you're nice to him.
It's because he keeps telling those J.K. Rowling jokes.
And he refers to Hugo as his dad instead of Hugo, which he consistently does.
Yeah.
But, other than that, I think it's pretty much the usual fray. And then we see Hugo by the Sakura. Oh, but actually, at the party, Hugo is wearing his wrestling outfit.
Yeah.
Instead of his, like, professor kind of outfit.
He's openly admitting that he likes wrestling. Oh, also Quizmaster Coin is at the party.
That's right. Oh, and I should say also in the third act, it turns out he has gotten back together with his wife and is much happier and they're in love.
Right. And he still says the same thing at the party. He's just like, I'm really glad. And he's like acting like he's been hired to be there, even though he's just been invited. And we're like, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, we tell him, like, you don't need to be on right now, bud.
So then, yeah, so there it is. And then we have Hugo by the Sakura tree.
And he's like, I told everyone I like wrestling, and everybody's totally cool with it, just like we would expect, because all the other dads are cool. And he's like, Craig is also a huge fan of wrestling, which, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's great. So he has other people to talk to about wrestling, and maybe it's like a learning moment for Hugo too, because like at the barbecue, he's talking about art with Matt, and they kind of leave Craig out of the conversation. It's like, well, you have stuff in common with Craig. Maybe if you just give him a chance.
It's the whole thing again is keeping in the theme with, I think you mentioned in a previous episode of like, it's okay to like things. It's cool,
Yeah.
Be yourself, and everyone. It's all great now.
Yeah.
I
like that this route is here in this game, because it does like really play into that theme that the whole game has of like that it's fun and cool and attractive to like have hobbies and like be really interested in things. And Hugo kind of embodies that whole thing of like something that probably the target audience for this game also has felt that we've all felt in our lives of like, well, I'm really interested in making Let's Plays on the internet, but if I tell anybody, it will be the most embarrassing thing in my entire life. And this game is saying, no, it's okay to be open about things you like, and there's nothing wrong with liking something that much. And liking, like video games and talking over them.
But besides that, there's also the kind of theme that is here and kind of also in Damien's route, where it's the sort of like this expectation of you that you're supposed to act a certain way based on, the appearance that you put forward. And in Damien's route, it was, I obviously like this kind of goth subculture and the architecture. And here it's, Hugo with his whole, button-up, stuffy teaching thing. But it's just the expectation of, you're supposed to act a certain way, and just saying, no, you don't really. Not really.
Yeah. That is nice.
Yeah. It's funny though with like Let's Play too, that was like a major thing, especially on like SA and stuff, and it's like it's totally like I totally like.
Yeah. Well, and it's still like 7 years ago, people would actively make fun of you, right? And now things have changed and softened, and we've all kind of gotten a bit older and don't care as much anymore. And all those things put together, it's a lot more like we've all had to kind of like calm down and be like, actually, I do like this and I don't give a fuck. And like, but yeah.
And if we were less embarrassed about it 7 years ago, there would be less racist people doing it.
All it took was like other people ruining it and getting massively rich off of it, and then ruining it again for us to say, "No, I like the games part."
God.
But no, I mean it's funny because like I don't usually talk about that like kind of aspect of my life, but actually like Jim is actually like a friend of mine in real life now, and look at him, he's on this podcast.
Yeah.
How weird! That's like so weird to me.
Yeah.
I would never have told. Well, I guess I wasn't that closed about it, but whatever. I totally get it. See, life's weird.
It is weird.
Enjoy what you enjoy. Don't be racist.
and vice versa. The people you meet through Let's Play are real friends too. Like we have real friends. We all met each other at Bagfest, and we're real human people. It's pretty cool.
We're kind of friends. I mean, we're acquaintances. No, I'm joking. I'm a big jerk. That's my shtick.
Hope you can hear my facial reaction as soon as you started talking.
Yeah.
No, I heard the eyes rolling. It made an audible sound.
To end it, we're sitting on the bench under the cherry tree, and Hugo offers to show us another wrestling move, which is his pump handle pile driver, which sounds the most like a sex thing I could even imagine. And the game ends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah. I feel like a Boston Crab might have alluded to things a little bit, which might just be me, but I feel like that sounds a little sexual.
Yeah, well, you're from the East Coast, so.
Yeah, that'll do it. A figure 4 leg lock, maybe. That's what it's called, right? Figure 4 leg lock?
Let's be honest, all wrestling terms sound like a sex thing. Like an Irish whip or like, everything sounds like a sex thing.
Wrestling is horny. That's why everybody likes it. So that is Hugo's route. We get a nice picture of him sitting with his lying on the cheese bar, surrounded by meat and cheese, with his shirt open as our reward photo, which is hilarious.
And his pants a little bit down too.
Scandalous.
Yeah. Although you have to wonder if that's like, is that because of like horniness or just because I ate a lot of cheese?
That's the charm of this game, is that it could be both.
Why could it? Yeah, why does it only have to be one?
It could be both. Yes, exactly. You're right.
This cheese is gonna give me the energy for that hand squirt leg lock. What? Wait, what was the name of the thing again?
Pump handle pile driver.
Same difference, but
So, yeah, that is a good point too. Like, I love how much this game is a sincere celebration of people who are, not 16 like every other dating game, falling in love with each other. Like, everybody's a person who's lived their lives and is independently operating on their own. They don't need someone to fix them. And it's just, the whole thing is just lovely. It just reminds me a lot of the good aspects of real life dating beyond the excitement of, meeting someone for the first time, but like the wholeness of like meeting a person who's a whole person and not like, being 18 or whatever and falling in love and where a lot of the other stuff takes place.
Yeah, and overlooking everything that you shouldn't because, oh my god, I'm so in love, I overlook everything. No, these are adults who are down to earth and actually come to an equal term together, and that's cool. And
they have a history. Like, I like older characters also in stuff, like, everything's like superheroes and stuff, and it's like if everybody is Spider-Man who's, 16 and doesn't have a history, right? Like, he just started doing this stuff, and you have other characters that are older and have a history. They've lived their lives, and I really like that this is a romance game with characters that have a history that they can reference and character development that has happened to them in the past, and it's not just, like, all the first time.
Well, I think then all that's left is we're gonna have to flip a coin. Although I do have a possible strategy for our last 2 routes. Not knowing much about them, I'm thinking we do Robert next and then end on Brian. So that way, in case there's like, you know, I won't say darker, but like more serious tones with Robert, we can kind of end on something a little more cheery with Brian.
I sort of vote for the opposite, knowing a little bit about Robert's route.
Okay.
I don't think it's super dark, at least from the parts I saw.
All right, I'm gonna flip this Labo cardboard cutout, which is circular.
The Labo coin.
If there's one thing you want to flip, it's cardboard. Flips
Yes,
real well.
It works. No, actually, let's go with turbos, unless anybody has an objection.
No, I think Brian and then Robert would be my vote as well.
I'm cool with that.
All right.
Just because I like Robert better.
Yeah, I think Robert's got some good qualities that we will find, even though he is the quote bad dad.
So next, Brian, the competitive dad who always tries to one-up everyone and can't calm down.
Ooh, sounds good. All right, take easy, everybody.
See you next time.
Later.